Hello, my friends. Jonah Schwickert here, and I am going to teach you Swanee River Boogie as a beginner in a 3-part series. Okay, so if you're a beginner boogie woogie learner, and if you want to play Swanee River Boogie, and you don't want to waste or spend years of your time learning it, then this video is perfect for you because we're going to cover a version that you can learn after this course. Okay, so this is going to be a free course, which I usually would charge a lot for in my program, Boogie Woogie Mastery, but I'm going to give it to you for free. And once you've worked with me through these courses, you're going to be so proud of yourself. Just imagine how accomplished and confident you're going to feel after you've learned such an intricate, iconic Boogie Woogie song as a beginner right now, right? You can learn this right now with me here. If you watch to the very end of this lesson and the other ones that are to come, and then you're going to have this song that you can practice and rehearse and play for your friends, for your family, make their jaw drop and play for yourself as well. And if you don't know who I am yet, like if you're new to the channel, my name is Jonah and I help people any age learn Boogie Woogie piano. That's what I focus on. I'm a concert pianist of 15 years and a teacher of 10 years, and just recently I decided to open my own music school, my own program, Boogie Woogie Mastery, where I focus exclusively on helping people like you boogie woogie to learn boogie woogie piano, as well as blues, like sub niches, rock and roll and blues, but we focus on boogie. So if you're interested in that, join in the description. There's the first link there. You can check out Boogie Woogie Mastery. But we're going to jump right into the first part of Swanee River. So what are we covering in this lesson? We're going to cover the progression of Swanee River Boogie because it's actually different than the 12-bar blues progression that you might be used to. We're going to then also cover the intro of Swanee River Boogie, and we're going to cover the first few bars of the melody, okay, with both hands together. Now, one prerequisite for this lesson is that you already can play the bass line of Swanee River Boogie, which I teach in almost all of my lessons. If you can't, that's perfect because I'll link a video right here where you can click it and you do that video first. You just learn the bass line. It's a very quick video where you can just learn the bass line so that we don't have to learn the bass line and then Swanee River Boogie because we're using that same bass line, okay? So if you can't play the basic Boogie Woogie bass line, this one here, right? Then work through that video here. But if you can, then let's get right into Swanee River Boogie for beginners, part number 1. So guys, we're gonna start just with the progression, the Swanee River progression, where we're just gonna look at that with the left hand, okay? So, the bass line, as you know, is this, right? And what we're going to look at is the progression, and the usual 12-bar blues progression goes for 12 bars before it repeats, right? You know about that. But this progression in Swanee River Boogie goes for 32 bars until it repeats. But I'm going to make it easy for you and split it up into 3 different parts, all right? So we're going to cover 3 parts of the progression, look at them separately, and then you can remember it much easier instead of remembering 32 bars in total, okay? So we're going to jump right into the first part of the 32 bars, okay? We're going to look at that. I'm just quickly going to play the first part only. That's the first part, okay? So, we're starting 2 bars on C, and I'm going to put a little visual aid here for you to keep track of the bars as well. And if you check the description, guys, you can print out or you can find a PDF for free where you can have the progression of Swanee River in front of you. And definitely download that. You're going to just put in your email there, and then I can send it right to your inbox. It's going to be automatic, and then you can use that as well to practice with. So definitely do that right now, and maybe just put it on your screen next to the lesson, right? So you have that as well. And also maybe write it down again so it settles in your subconscious. Okay, so that's always helpful to just write it down yourself again. So we have 2 bars on C first. These balloons, these damn balloons. It's my program from recording. I hope you guys don't mind. I need to find a way to turn it off. So 2 bars on C, and you can already play this bass line. So we're not going to look into the bass line per se. You can do the other video. After that, it's 2 bars on F. So we're at 4 bars here, right? 2 on C, 2 on F, that's 4. Then we go back to 2 bars on C. That's it. So now we're at 6, and then we go for 2 bars onto G. You can do the G either down here, or you can go up and do it up here. Doesn't matter. Depends on your mood. So that's 8 bars in total. 2 on C, 2 on F, 2 on C again, and then 2 on G. That's the first part of the 32 bars in total. Right? Now write that down, practice that a bit. Just ingraining those changes, and when you're doing the changes, you can do a little break, and then you can keep going, right? But ideally, you don't do any break. Where you go straight into the next position. That's gonna be a bit technically challenging, so practice that a bit in a slow tempo, okay? And then we're going to move on to the next part, the second part of the 32 bar Swanee River Boogie progression. All right, and remember to just get that free Swanee River progression sent to your email to get some extra help in remembering this, and then also practicing it on your own, so you can just have that in front of you. Okay, so the next part, when we're coming from that G, 7, bar 7, bar 8, we're gonna come back to C. Okay, 1 sec, let me just move that up a bit, and yeah, that should be nicer. So we're coming back to C, and we're playing 2 bars again on C for the next part. Then we're going on F again for 2 bars, just how in the first part. Back to C, but this time only for 1 bar. Okay? And then on G for 1 bar. And then back on C for 2 bars. Okay? So in this case, we have 8 bars again, right? But instead of doing 2 bars on C and then going to G, we're doing 1 bar on C, 1 on G, and then 2 on C at the end. So the beginning is the same, so you got 1 and 2 and 3, right? 2 bars on C, 2 bars on F, and then 1 bar on C, 1 on G, and then 2 on C. Okay? The first 2 bars on C, second 2 bars on F, then bar number 5 on C, bar number 6 on G, and then bar number 7 and 8 on C. Okay? So that's 16 bars in total now. That's the second part. So follow along with that as well. Practice that to ingrain it a bit. Just the correct changes. And then we're going to look at the longest part, the third part. Okay? Very interesting part here. So the third part starts after these last 2 bars on C, so 7 and 8, or 15 and 16, if you're dismissing the parts that I've divided. So the whole progression would be, this is bar 15 and 16, but of the part number 2, it's just 7 and 8. And then let's go into the new part. The first bar of the new part, you're going to go right onto G. This is very uncommon, very specific to Swanee River Boogie. Okay? So you're playing these last ones of the part 2. and then going on G for 2 bars. So the first 2 bars of the third part are on G. Then you go on C for 2. Then on F for 2. And then on G for 2. Okay. So that's the first, I think, 8, right? So the first 2 are just going to be the G of the third part, and 3 and 4. That's 2 bars of the third part. Then third and fourth on C. Then fifth and sixth on F. And then seventh and eighth on G. Okay, now we have 8 more bars of the third part, because you then, after that, you're gonna go, and by the way, you can stop here and practice that. You could split it up into 4 parts, but I wanted to kind of make it 3. It's a better number to remember, but you can also just do those 8. You can do 8, 8, 8, 8, because that's exactly 32, right? And then you go back to C for 2 bars. Then on to F for 2 bars. Then on to C for 2 bars. No, for 1 bar, sorry. And then on to G for 1 bar. And then on to C for the last 2 bars. 31 and 32. Or 15 and 16 of the third part. So the first part is 8 bars, second part is 8 bars, and the third part is 16 bars. Or you do it 4 parts, you go 8, 8, 8, 8, right? So that is the Swanee River progression. Now use the cheat sheet. Just we're going to repeat it one more time, but use the cheat sheet to follow along with that and practice that a bit to ingrain that. Doesn't have to be so long, maybe just like play it through a few times, okay, the whole progression, all parts, all 3 parts. And then we're going to move into the next thing, which is the intro. So the right hand comes in then. But great job on that. Let's just go over the last 16 bars again. So the last part, the third part. You're starting it on G. So 2 bars on G. Then 2 on C. Then 2 on F. And then 2 on G again, and that's 8. Then you're going back to C for 2. Then on to F for 2, and then on to C for 1, and G for 1. Okay, so that same little 1-1 switch, and then C for the last 2. Okay. So that is the third part. Fantastic work so far. It's a very long progression, but once you got it, and if you split it up into 3 parts, I think you're gonna do just fine, because then it won't be that much. You just have to practice 8 bars, and then the third part is the hardest to remember, and you can also split that up into 8, 8 again, right? Or you leave it at 16, how I recommend it. So great job. That's the progression. That's often which stumps most beginners to figure out. But using my cheat sheet there, I'm sure you can work it out and practice with it. And just this part, you can rewind it on YouTube here and slow down and just keep following through with me. Do it again with me, do it again with me, right? To just keep ingraining it and remember it and programming it into your subconscious. And then once you've done that a bit, we're gonna move on to the right hand, okay? So the right hand is gonna start as an intro. Gonna move my microphone a bit out of the way now, so I'm gonna be a little lower. There we go. So the intro looks like this. And then you would start the progression on the left hand. So you have these G octaves on the right hand. Okay. On the left hand, you have a very interesting thing. The F sharp and G together. Okay. This. It's supposed to sound a little dissonant. Okay. That's what we're playing. It sounds quite cool. Let's do only the right hand first, and then we're gonna add that left hand comping, because the rhythm here is a bit challenging on the left hand to get right. So the right hand, you have a little upbeat of these 4 keys. This is before you hit the 1. Okay, so this upbeat goes G, B flat, B, and then D. You want to play these quite fast after another. And use the same finger for the B flat and B. Just like that. Right? You can also use the 4th finger here, but I don't like it because then the 5th has to do quite a reach. And then I'll just demonstrate one time with counting how we're playing this. So we have the intro goes for 2 bars, okay? Then we have a little break and then the run. So the 2 bars with the chord with the octaves go like this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. That's 2 bars, right? We count to 4 in each bar. And if you don't know at all about counting, you also learn it in the bassline video and all my other videos as well. But you're just counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And on 1 you have a break. So it's 2 bars, and then the 3rd bar of the intro is just 1 last octave. And then you would go into a run, which we're gonna look at next. But first we're gonna add the left hand. So as I said, left you have this thing. It's called a minor second. You just have 2 keys here, right next to each other. And you're hitting it on the 1, the 2 and the 4 of each bar. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Right? 2 bars. So you're playing 6 times this shape on each 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, and then on the 1 again of the 3rd bar where you have the break. So let's do that together. Put your hands here, go very slow with me. We're gonna play it one time with the upbeat. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. That's it. We're gonna do that one more time. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, sorry, and 4 and 1. Okay, so on the 1, the 2 and the 4. Practice that, rewind the video and download the PDF file for that as well. You can send it to you by email. And then we're gonna look at the run in the right hand, because on that 1 at the end of the intro, you have a break on the 1, and then you go into the run. And 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. until you're on the one end of the next bar. So we're gonna look at that run. This is a really nice riff, by the way. So that run you can use also just in general in boogie woogie a lot. It's a really cool run to learn. So you're gonna put your third finger on E flat up here, down to D, second finger, onto C, first finger. You're gonna grab over, put your third finger on B flat, second finger on A, and then first finger on G. Then you're gonna grab over again, put your third finger on E flat, second finger on D, and first finger on C. So as you can see, you only have two shapes. These three keys and these. Right? Only these. That's all you have to learn. And then you just keep grabbing over with your third finger and you keep going downwards, right? If you want to play it more down. Okay, so it looks like this again. So 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. That's it. So you're just going from this E flat down to this C. Okay, so just practice that. Only eighth notes. Okay, so 1 and 2. Add a swing rhythm. Very important as well. If you don't know the swing rhythm, watch this lesson that I'm gonna link right here again. But if you work through the bass line lesson, or if you can already play the bass line, you can play a swing rhythm as well. And 2 and 3. So this is the rhythm, right? This is the rhythm. So now we're going to add it with a transition here from the first part of the intro. That's what we're doing. So we're going to practice it just like this. We're going to play only on the one and go into the run. So we're going to leave the first two bars out. So only the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and. Again, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and. One more time. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and. Nice. Now the full intro. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and. Nice. Fantastic job, my friend. So, hello. That was the intro. Yeah, that was the main part of the intro. And then after that, you're gonna go into the progression of Swanee River Boogie that we just looked at. So now, I want you to just play the intro, okay? Do the run. And we're gonna show you how to get into the progression in a second, and then use the sheet that I made for you. If you haven't gotten it, just put in your email. The link is in the description. I'll send it to you, and then just play through the progression one time. All right? Because that's part of the intro as well. So if we're doing 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. Part of the intro here is to not play anything on the right hand, but just go through the whole progression one time, right? So it's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16, and then on to G. But actually, I lied when I said the whole progression, because you're only playing 16 bars of the progression. So you're leaving out the whole third part, okay? The third part of the progression you're leaving out. So this is your challenge right now. Practice just the intro. And then practice the first 16 bars of the progression. Okay? Just the left hand. So you're practicing that transition. And then you already have everything you need to really keep going, because then you have like the structure and the intro, you're getting into the song, the swing, and we're gonna look at that next, okay? One more thing before you practice that. You're starting the bass line on the 1 of the bar, as always. You have to start the bass line on the 1, but the run on the right hand doesn't end until the 1 and on the C, right? So if we're counting at the end of the intro, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and, right? So you're starting the bass line on the left hand with this D, not with the C. You're still playing the C on the right hand afterwards, but you're starting the bass line on the 1, which is the D. Very important, right? So definitely keep that in mind when you're practicing that. But that's already a great job. And now we're going into the melody on the right hand. So I'm just going to show you what we're going to look at. Three, four. Okay, so something like that, a little easier for you. I'm going to show you 2 versions. And by the way, guys, if you want any help actually implementing all this one-to-one with me, if you're afraid of making mistakes or ingraining the wrong technique or practicing the wrong thing without knowing it, then it can be helpful to have someone look over your shoulder, and that's what I do in Boogie Woogie Mastery. So I work with each of my students individually and help them progress into a very, very good Boogie Woogie player without much frustration, without spending too much time, because you wouldn't have to look for the lessons. You have to work through and figure it all out yourself. So if that's something that you want some help with to save some time, some frustration, and just become better all around quicker, then click the link in the description. I still have some spots free for Boogie Woogie Mastery. You can check it out just clicking the link in the description. And I'll be happy to hear your feedback in the comments, or if you do decide to join one-to-one in a call with me and the other students where we're all already learning Boogie Woogie like this, okay? So we're gonna look at that little melody here. We're gonna look at only the right hand first, and then combining it rhythmically with hand independence. So the right hand, you have some melody notes. You have an E. I'm just gonna play the melody first, just with single notes. That's the first part of the melody. So the E. You can also do it with octaves if you're a little bit advanced. So the same key on different registers. So that's the first part of the melody. And this E occurs on the 3 of the bar. So if we would count 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Right, so on the 3 and 4 and, so that's a empty 3 and 4 and then the next part of the melody is on each quarter note of the new bar. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Then on the and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and so on the when you're playing the melody and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, the next part is up here. So you're gonna put your 5th finger up here on the C. 1 and 2 and 3. So on the 3, the beat 3, 3 and 4 and 1. Then the 3rd finger on the A on the 1, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So then the new part here, the second part of the melody, goes like this: 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So that'll be the 1, the G. Do that one more time. 5th finger on C. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Okay? Let's combine these two. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1. Nice. That's the first two parts of the melody. Of course, you can also play these on the and notes, the melody parts, right? The notes, the melody notes. That's a skill thing as well. So if you're a little more advanced, you can add a bit of more of a swing feeling to the melody just by misplacing some of the notes 1/8 note off. So instead of the 3, you could play this on the 3 and. Instead of the 1, you could play this on the 1 and. You know, that's how you integrate a little bit more swing. But for this beginner lesson, we're going to keep it on the quarter notes mainly. And then you can also play this as octaves if you want to. 1 and 2. It's a lot better if you can do it. And 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Right? That's how it looks with octaves. But let's get into the next part of this Swanee River melody. Because after this G, you're going to be your 2nd finger on here. You're going to put your thumb on the E down here, right? Okay, just these 3 keys. 1st finger, then you're going to grab over to the C, the 2nd finger, and then the 3rd finger is going to land on the D. So you're coming from here, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So then on the 1 again, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then you have a little break for around 2 bars. And there you can play a fill-in, but we're looking at that, the next course, the fill-ins you can add in between all of this, that are also super easy but super nice, something like this, right? If you're playing See what I'm doing? Small little fill-ins, but like I said, we're covering that in the next course as well. So you can build on this and just start with the basics here. Yeah, so let's go into the last part of the melody here. This was the thing we did. After that, we go back into the beginning melody. 1 and 2. Do the same thing, right? The same two parts actually. But then at the end here, on the G, we're staying shorter than before, right? So we're going and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. That's that. So we're gonna start from this up here on the 3, right? 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So that's the same as well. 3 and 4 and 1, right? So you're just adding a little D and ending on the C, okay? You could add a fill in there as well then. And that's the first part of the melody, okay? So let's play the whole thing now. And you can just rewatch these parts as well until this is ingrained. It's gonna take a bit of remembering as well, but maybe I'll make another free resource for you to help remember this, where you can see the keys for the melody. So check the link in the description. If I do have that, I'll put it there. So we're playing this on the 3. Okay, so 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 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 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, long pause, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, pause or break or fill in for 2 bars, 3, and then we go back into the melody from the start, and 3 and 4, but you're playing the E there on the 1 this time, I believe. And then it'll change, and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2. Then you can add another fill in, the break here, and 3 and 4 and 1. Okay, so take that part and rewind it and just practice it, and then we're gonna go into the combining, and then you're done with this first quarter of Swanee River Boogie. That's already the first quarter, and not even, because we didn't progress that far into the actual song, because we spend a lot of time on the progression. So the next 2 courses we're gonna go way deeper and quicker on the actual song structure, from the melody aspect and the riffs that we use, and the chords and the tactics, the techniques, right? And one more thing before we move on putting it together: when you're doing the second time the melody, right, the second time, you can add a little extra. So instead of just going 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, you could go, when going up here, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. That's a little bit advanced though, so you're doing a little chromatic walk up. So it sounds like this. right? So you can also practice that just by watching me do it and repeating that, right? So 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1. Nice. Okay, so it's a little addition. And by the way, the fill-ins here use a very specific shape that I do also have a lot of courses on, like the most famous riff in all of Boogie Woogie. It's called the All the Time riff inside my program Boogie Woogie Mastery. So if you want to learn that quick and understand the All the Time riff in Boogie Woogie, you can join us in Boogie Woogie Mastery, where I can teach you one-to-one, and you can access all of my detailed step-by-step courses and roadmaps shaping you from beginner to expert in a very time efficient and easy manner. Okay, but yeah, you would add the All the Time riff as a fill-in here. Sounds like that, or this, something like this, right? But now we're gonna add it all together, my friends. Okay, so fantastic work on the melody part. We've covered so far 3 main aspects. The most important aspects, arguably, the progression of Swanee River, the intro, and then also the melody, which you can build on in the future courses to learn the entire song. We're now gonna look at putting it all together. Okay, we're gonna start with the intro, or actually, one second, I'm just gonna readjust this. We're not gonna start with the intro, guys. We're gonna leave that up to you to combine the intro and everything else. At the end of the lesson we can do it, but let's just look at putting the melody together with the left hand. So like I said, when you're ending the run, you're gonna play through the first 16 bars of the progression. That's how it's gonna sound. Let's look into that. So after the 16 bars, you're gonna start the progression anew, so all over again. So from bar 1, you're not gonna go into the part 3 of the progression, just gonna start new. And 3, 4, and right. And then on the 3, like I mentioned, you're playing the first melody key. So you 1, C, you're switching to F. And 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. Then you would go into the next part of the melody, right, where you repeat everything with this little extra, and then the longer ending. But that's the first part. We're going to do that one more time together. Okay, so just keep track of where I'm adding the rhythm, but if you practice it solo on the right hand with counting, then you're going to be able to match it up perfectly because you're already counting the correct rhythm. So you start on the 3, and 3, and 4, and then you have quarter notes in the right hand, eighth notes in the left hand. So C with D, then C solo, then E with C, C solo, then E with G, C solo, then A with D, G solo, and then you go on to C right hand, and left hand you're switching on to F. And 3, right, on the 3, and 4, then on the 1 again, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and switch back to C, you know, bar 5 and 6, and 2, and 3, and 4, and then on the 1, we have this, 2, and 3, and 4, and then you switch on to G, bar 7 and 8, ending on D on the right hand, on the 1. 1, and 2, right? 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. And nice! Great job. Just rewind that part. I think that was a nice slow tempo what I just did. Rewind that one and just practice with that a bit until you're at a good level of that first part. We don't want to overwhelm here. You know, a great student usually repeats something for a few amount of times until it's solid, not perfect, but solid, and then you move on so that that can settle in your subconscious while you learn a new thing now. So now we're going to go into the second part of the melody together, which is pretty much the same, except if you're adding this thing, and then at the end you have a few more notes, right? So let's look at that. So we're coming from that G, and then you go into the second part of the progression, okay? If you've practiced that, or you have your sheet in front of you, you can orient yourself on that. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, That's 8 bars again, second part. We're going to do that one more time. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. And now we switch on to F. Bar 3 and 4. 3 and 4. And did it without the little thing now. Back to C for 1 bar. Then 1 bar on G. And then I'm back to C. One more time. And 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. Now with the little extra. And 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. Okay. Very good job. And now we're just going to combine it, both parts, right? So first 8 bars with the first part of the melody, and then the next 8 bars, the second part of the melody. Okay? I'm going to start. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 6 and 7, 7, 5 and 6, and 7 and 8, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and then right, you're starting. I think I actually I mixed this up when I just showed you earlier. You're starting the E here on the second part on the 1 instead of the 3. Okay? So the second part, when you're coming from that E, from that G, and going back to the C, you're gonna start the E instead of the 3 of the bar on the 1. But the rest is the same. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. Onto F, and 4, and 1, and 2. Finish the progression. Don't stop early. Nice. Now we're just gonna add the intro, the progression for 16 bars, and then the melody. And then you're gonna be done with the first part of the 3-part series to learn Swanee River Boogie for yourself and feel amazing after you've done it and have that to always play. So hold through with me here and practice with me. Okay, very slow. You can slow the video down and then we're gonna get into it right now. So 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and get your hand in position. On the D you start the left hand and you end on the C. That's 2 bars. 3 bars, 4 bars, 5th bar, 6th bar, 7th bar, 9th bar, 10th bar, sorry, 11th bar and 12th bar, 13th bar, 14th, 15th and 16th. And now we're gonna go into the melody. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1 Now on the one and two and three and four on to G. Timer just do a pause. Great job. So that is that, my friend. Now, since this was just the first part, you know, there's many more parts to this course to play and learn Swanee River Boogie and take it apart and really master this song as a beginner or advanced or even expert, because I have multiple versions of these courses as well in Boogie Boogie Mastery. So I suggest, if you want access to all of the Swanee River lessons for beginners, if you want to complete this challenge and really feel that confidence and develop into a great boogie woogie player who can play this song for yourself and for your friends and your family, right? Swanee River Boogie, then you should join Boogie Woogie Mastery now. Well, I still have some spots free, so you can get coached by me directly one-to-one, and you can access all of the other Swanee River Boogie courses, because this is just the first one, and where we look at everything else, like the riffs, the runs, the breaks, some of the most common Swanee River Boogie riffs and runs we take apart as well and put them in the basic version that you can learn, and we cover it step by step to really learn this song once and for all. So if that is something you want to chase, and if you're really ready to take your passion by the hands and develop it fully, then I suggest you join. Click the first link in the description. You can check it out there, and either way, you can also just rewatch this lesson and then try to learn it on your own, because this is already going to give you the foundations to really grasp Swanee River Boogie, because you got the progression and my cheat sheet to help you with that as well. And check out my other lessons too, because there you can already as well learn a lot of basic stuff that you can play around with and hopefully figure it all out for yourself. And if you have any other questions, you can also leave a YouTube comment here. I also answer those, even though of course I'm not as active as inside Boogie Woogie Mastery. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm very proud of you as well for sticking around for so long. And I hope to see you in the next YouTube video. So I'll see you soon. Take care. Or of course, I hope to see you in Boogie Woogie Mastery. Have a good one. Bye bye.